bit. And I cleaned out this is how elaborately I maintain my files. And all of this stuff I've got, I'm donating to whoever your archivist is, if that's Don or whoever. And I may have some things here that, no, you've not seen before. Let's see, how many of you were around in 1962 to hit the Courier-Journal magazine? And there we are, and that's William Fitzgerald, and there's the farmer Bruce, when I was not as old as I am now, since I was, gee, it's hard for me to calculate anymore, but, okay. And this is where they were digging at the time, and here we go, and when the University of Nebraska was down there. But this is a very fine article, and so I'm donating that. Let's see if there's some more then. To the archivists, as well as everything else I've pretty well got here. And so I'll lay that out. Now, what perhaps you don't have, and bless my mother, she collected every newspaper that had anything reference to Boone County or current events, and she kept a scrapbook of every year. So I'm going to, okay, I tried to pull some of the pages out of the scrapbook that would relate to the present. And this was an article, a newspaper article with pictures of the area. And I'll be reading some of this. These photographs were taken yesterday at Big Boone in Boone County, which has been suggested as a site for a Northern Kentucky State Park. The Ohio River should be raised some 20 feet here by the new Markland Dam. Some of the flatlands and hilly wooded areas are shown in the other photograph over here. Big Bone Creek would become quite a stream after the Markland Dam is completed. I don't know that it had that much of an impact on the floods itself. But then it goes on to about how they're going to get the funds, and oh my God, is that an ordeal? And I've got much material on that. Some of this, I'll mention here, it says, the Development Committee, well, it does mention a name in here that it hasn't been mentioned too often. That is Sharon Floor. Does anybody here remember who in the world Sharon Floor was? Well, he was the secretary of the Covington-Kenton County Community Development Committee. He was active shaker and mover in Kenton County. And he got behind this, and he helped organize us. Attending the meeting tomorrow will be Bruce Ferguson Union, son of Walter Ferguson, chairman of the State Parole Probation Board, and confidant of Governor Chandler, which that helped pay off. The younger Ferguson, Floor, is interested in developing the Big Bone area of Boone County as a park. Floor said, generally, I don't think the Big Bone area under present conditions has sufficient wooded area or water area facilities for a state park. However, I think the location is okay. I mean, they always, you see, their idea of a state park was a waterfall, or a natural bridge, or some tourist attraction, and we didn't have any of that. Big Bone was a pretty desperate looking place when we got started. This, now, I guess you've seen the old, that's what we passed out to the world in those days. And we had our sketch of what the park would look like, and we had the museum and the recreational area. And notice where it says the town of Big Bone. Well, my questionnaire here was, well, tell us about the town of Big Bone. boy, there's not much to tell about the town of Big Boone. I mean, 2 saloons, an inactive church, 2 houses, and some shacks. I mean, there wasn't much to the town of Big Boone. I am lucky, fortunate enough to say, in my youth, the old hotel, would you believe, was still there, falling down, up on the hill behind what was Pig's Saloon at one time, going toward Hamilton Landing on the right. And it was up on the hill there, and I used to walk up there. It was a pretty interesting place to see, but it was in shambles. And it was, you could tell at one time was an impressive place. Well, this map shows the site of the old hotel right there. In fact, they say that's the site of the recent hotel. Over here was the site of the old hotel. Well, I had never even found, that's where a trailer park was, as you recall, when they had the trailer park down there. When you try to describe Big Bone Lick, where is the area? Actually, we always consider it to be centered on, pretty much you might say, on where Gum Branch runs into Big Bone Creek. And anything in that area. Early descriptions say 15 acres. Then later 10 acres, 7 acres of swampy land and all of that. The bones can be found anywhere along the creek, and especially around the 2 acres of county ground. And it's mentioned in here. We started with 2 acres that the county already owned at the central spring that was still in its natural state. Now, when I was a youth, as a young boy, with mom and dad and all of us, we'd drink out of the pipe behind the church, which was, they had made a thing with holes drilled in it. Have you seen pictures of that? And the water would just spout out of the holes on the container that was just built out of boards with holes drilled in it, and the water would come out. Today, you can, if you want to go down Bender Road, you'll see, how many people have been down Bender Road and see the water pouring out of the, you know what I'm talking about, Todd. They dug for gas, I think. Was that what that was for, or do you know?
They had done some digging, and I'm not exactly sure what they were trying to find, but, you know, they, on the park, the springs aren't as active now as they are right off the park, right down Bender Road.
Yeah, that pipe, they were drilling for gas, is what I was told.
Yeah, there's a Big Boone Gas and Oil Development Company. I have a copy of one of the shares.
Okay.
And it was 1910, and they were drilling for, like you said, gas and oil.
Yes. And so all they got, of course, they tapped into the sulfur water supply, which I was always told, okay, when I would speak to school kids, and I would try to keep the stuff as simple as possible, and I would try to explain to them the geology of the area, and that at one time, any idiot can tell that this was one time an ancient sea here, because you can see the shells, okay, and you approach it simply like that, and in the passage of time, as I would explain it to them, and how accurately, geologically accurate this is, I don't know, but they didn't know any better either, was that the Cincinnati Arc, as it's called, was the uplift that created the bluegrass region of Kentucky. And the bluegrass region, that's worn down. You got the beautiful limestone there. Well, we're the outer bluegrass. And it went that way and this way. we're this in. And the ancient seawater went down into the rocks and under hydraulic pressure comes back up at Big Boone. That's the simplest way I can explain it to school kids, and they always bought it, and nobody really fought with me over my description. And I've got with me one of the receipt books, and this is all of this stuff is going to go to the society here, and these were collected by Bob Moody. Bob Moody was very instrumental in the early formation of Big Boone when he was just a school student at Dixie Heights. He was active in Ellis Crawford's Northern Kentucky Archaeological Society. And these are some that he collected. Here he got 3 books from Robert Noleth, Florence, Kentucky. We can go through here. He got, here, Southern Trails Beverage. They gave $25. That, Bob Moody collected that. Ernie Godsey, he gave $25, collected by Bob Moody. But all I've got are Bob Moody's collections here. This is Schwartz Drugstore in Florence. Wilton Stevens, who was the PVA in the county and the political Democratic boss of the county, really. He was the property valuation administrator. This is all done in 1958. He was one of those competent political figures in the county. Elvin Helms from Petersburg, he gave $5. Oh, Helms were fine people who knew down in Petersburg area. He was a school bus driver, ran a garage and all of that. Okay, there's the old collection. You might have some other of those. I don't know. Do you? Do you have some?
Yeah,
that I'd given you before.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of pour through this, and now we did have, you know, Pat gave me this kind of question and answer thing. Okay, maybe I ought to direct my attention to that. And we'll find stuff as we go through. Oh, you're talking about, hey, do you remember, did you ever see those? Welcome to Big Boone country, sponsored by the Boone County Businessmen's Association. We had them involved. Yeah, you can replicate that sticker today. Here's some nice pictures of Earl Tanner. Now he was a real pot hunter, farmer whose hobby is digging for bones, and Bob Moody, right here, I mentioned, find the skull of a prehistoric bison. And this Earl Tanner was really a neat guy. Hey, there comes Asa. About that. Bob Moody was a real fine fella, and he became the county attorney in Madison County, didn't he?
What did you say your name was?
Oh yeah, Bruce. Put it there. Now I just jumped ahead of you, Ace, because I just took off. They said that at 7 o'clock.
Well, I owe these people an explanation.
Yes, and give us one.
Wednesday morning, at about, I guess, a little after 5 in the morning. Maybe it was in the emergency room
That's what I heard.
at Sandy Edgewood. She has a history of congestive heart failure. And it's pretty scary stuff. To make a long story short, just a very short time ago, I was conferring with the chief cardiologist. It was in the morning, or yes, it's in the morning. She's supposed to have a